Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Oh, here we come a-wandering so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year. God bless the master of his house, likewise the mistress too. And all the little children that round the table go. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. And God send you a happy new year.
Hello, my name is Jeff Davis, and I want to thank you for listening to my reading of Charles Dickens' book, A Christmas Carol. Please feel free to send a link to your friends and family so they can listen as well, but I ask you to not download, copy, or distribute it without my permission first. While the book itself is copyright-free, my reading is not. I'd like to talk about why I decided to read A Christmas Carol to audiences. The events of Christmas 2019 were the beginnings of my decision to perform and record this recording. 2019 and 20 have been difficult times for me. In November 2019, my elderly father, who suffered from many medical problems, including dementia, fell and was hospitalized. By Christmas 2019, he'd returned home, rallied, then entered the hospital again. On Christmas Eve, I found myself at home alone, wanting to do something to take my mind off my father's situation and my own problems. I surfed the 35 television channels available to me and found that none of them were playing any of the 40-plus versions of A Christmas Carol. So I went to my home library and found a dusty old copy on my shelf. I hadn't actually looked at it since I was probably 15. I sat down and read it that night. Occasionally I read passages aloud and said to myself, this was really written as a spoken narrative, not just a silent read. Maybe next year I'll take it on as a live event at a local venue. Of course, by March 2020, COVID hit, and we're still living in this sequestration. However, I have still not given up on my desire to read aloud. Before I do so, I want to share what I think are some interesting bits of history surrounding A Christmas Carol. Charles Dickens wrote several short stories about Christmas ghosts before and after he wrote A Christmas Carol, but this is the one that's best remembered. It was published on December 19th, 1843. This first edition was delayed many times before publishing and reaching the public, but it didn't matter. It sold out by Christmas Eve the same year. By December 31st, 1844, 13 editions were reprinted and sold out, and it's never been out of print since then, and of course translated into many, many different languages. Over the years, there have been uncounted or countless stage productions of A Christmas Carol, along with radio plays, over 20 live-action movies shown on the big screen, 7 or 8 animated movies, and numerous television movie and serialized versions. I don't think any of these are completely true to the original book. For the most part, over the years, directors have cut out parts for pace or to keep it within whatever time limits they have. Over the years, some producers and directors have actually added scenes that have had a pivotal effect on audiences in later productions. For instance, in many movie versions of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge visits the Cratchits on Christmas Day and kind of surprises them. That scene was definitely not in Dickens' original book. My favorite feature movie is Scrooge, starring Alastair Sim, which came out in 1951, followed by the 1999 television movie version of A Christmas Carol starring Patrick Stewart. I think the Patrick Stewart version is the most faithful to the book, which does not include Scrooge visiting the Cratchits on Christmas Day. However, it has a few downbeats for me. For instance, the way Patrick Stewart calls his nephew's housemaid, "my love," in kind of a creepy tone. Now, the Alastair Sim version has many changes from the book. some cases I think because the special effects were not up to portraying things realistically or believably to an audience, as they did in the Patrick Stewart version. However, to me, it captures the mood of the reformed Scrooge best. And my childhood favorite is 1962's Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, a cartoon which stars the voice talents of Jim Backus. Prior to A Christmas Carol, Dickens' earlier works, such as The Pickwick Papers, Oliver Twist, and The Old Curiosity Shop, were all published as serials in newspapers. In those days, most of England's people were literate. It became something of a ritual for these people to gather around someone who could read, who would recite the serialized articles to the crowd. Some of Dickens' serials went on for over 2 years before they were finally published in book form. Having said that, I was surprised to learn that A Christmas Carol was not published in newspapers first. It was his passion project, and he spent a great deal of time revising the text as well as inspecting and rejecting various proof copies of the book before he was satisfied with the final version, which was released only days before Christmas. Afterward, he did give readings of a modified version of A Christmas Carol to audiences worldwide. He included portions of it in his final public reading, which he gave shortly before his death in 1870 at the age of 58. The book itself has 5 parts, which Dickens calls staves rather than chapters. I wondered why he did that. I even checked out the Wikipedia article on the book. As we all know, if it's in Wikipedia, it must be true. However, in this case, they didn't have an explanation for it, so I'll give you my own theory. The word stave has many uses. It's a piece of wood used to make up a barrel. If you stave off disaster, you have somehow stopped bad things from happening. A stave is also a musical term used mostly in England. In Western musical notation, the staff in the U.S. or the stave in the Great Britain is a set of 5 horizontal lines and 4 spaces that each represent a different musical pitch. Now, in this case, Dickens' literary work is entitled A Christmas Carol. A carol is a song. As a play on words, it seems natural to me that he would separate each of the 5 written parts like they were verses in a song, rather than chapters in a book. I intend to release Stave 1 on the first Friday in December, the second stave on the second Friday, the third stave on the third, but on the 4th Thursday, which is Christmas week, I will release staves 4 and 5 as one recording. The total runtime of all these episodes is something over 2 hours if you listen to them all at once. Before I began recording, I debated many things. Should I use background music? Should I do character voices? Should I include sound effects? Should I put on an English accent? The answer to all these questions is no. While music definitely sets the mood along with sound effects, technically it would have been a bit too challenging for me to do in this short of a time. The same is true about character voices, particularly since I have a tendency to mix them up when I do live readings. About the English accents, no. My English friends tell me that my imitation is not up to snuff, Jeff. So when you listen to each stave, please forgive the occasional word fumbles and mispronunciation, and once or twice there are some background noises I have to apologize for. But I hope you like my reading, because it is simply the spoken word, which is how most of the illiterate people heard it back in the 1840s. Like them, you'll have to use your imagination to supply the rest. And so, let's begin.
Here we come a-wassailing among the leaves so green. Oh, here we come a-wandering, so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year.
The introductory music, Here We Come a-Wassailing, comes from the U.S. Army Band and is in the public domain, as is the text from A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. However, Jeff Davis' reading is under copyright beginning in 2020. Thank you for listening.
Your wassail too, and God bless you and send you